This time we're going to take a look at reports and alerts. We're going to use another use case for that. So we've seen a couple of times that this example organization has social security numbers in the system. And so we're going to create a weekly report on the number of times that a social security number is read or accessed. And then we're also going to create an alert in case the number of accesses exceeds a certain threshold. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back into the Discover tab here, and we're going to build up the query that's going to define both the report and the alerts. So I'm going to jump into the Discover area, and we're going to base this off of the audit log information since we're interested in accesses and not the actual data itself. So we're going to look at the audit logs, and I'm going to filter this down to social security numbers. And so here you can see we've got 4,583 records, but we're going to filter out the deletes and the stores. We're only interested in the number of accesses. So I'm going to filter down on event types to just reads. Okay, perfect. So 1,102 reads, but this is all time. And so we're also going to filter, we want this to run weekly. And so we're going to do a relative time span of the past 7 days. Okay, so 12 records. So this is the information that we're interested in is, you know, the over the last week, the number of times that social security numbers have been read. So what we're going to do now that we've got the data drilled down to the way we want it, I'm going to save this query. So save query, and we'll call this last week social security numbers. Okay, so now we have the query saved. You can see I've got it in my saved queries there. So what I'm going to do now is go into the alerts area and set up a new alert. We'll say, you know, there's only 12 records in the last week. We'll say if that exceeds 20, that constitutes a high risk event that we would want to investigate further. So we'll go into the alerts and we will create a new alert. And we're going to call this, you know, high SSN usage. And this is activity volume that we're looking at. We want it to run weekly. We're going to call this a warning event. No minimum value. You know, we don't care if it's below a certain threshold, but if it goes above 20, that's when we would like the alert to get generated. And the query that it's going to run is the last week SSN. Okay, so now we have a new warning of a scheduled alert here, and it'll run every week. It'll generate a warning if the results of this query exceeds 20 records. And back in the dashboard, you can see these notifications. This is where it would show up. There would be a new warning event that gets populated into this notification area. Okay, so we've got the event set up. Let's also set this up as a report so that I get, regardless of how many social security number accesses there were, that I get a report emailed to myself with the results of that query of the social security number accesses. So I'm going to go into the reports area, and we are going to set up a new report. Okay, and this is going to be weekly social security number accesses. It will be weekly. We are reporting on activity, and we would like to include everything. So I'm just going to leave it blank. But if you did want to filter the report down to only certain fields, you have the list of fields that you can choose from here. I'm going to leave it blank so that the report just includes everything. And the query is going to be the last week SSN. And so there we go. Now I have a new report that will run every week on the social security number accesses. It will run the query as we defined it and alert us if if the records exceed 20 for any given week. And then either way, we now have it set up so that we will receive that report weekly as well.